England, Spain. They were all born during this period. Asia Kazakh steppes, late 4th century. The Huns. Who were they? Perhaps Xiongnu? Perhaps Xiongnu. Chinese sources mentioned them 200 years ago. But now, they are moving west. Why? Drought, civil war, Chinese pressure, we don't know. But what we know is this: they live on horseback, they shoot arrows, they move around, and they never stop. Attila, the scourge of God. He kills his 2 brothers. He becomes the sole ruler, and for 20 years, he shakes Europe to its core.
For the horse!
Byzantium pays tribute, 700 kilograms of gold. Every year, Western Rome flees. Gaul, Italy, 452, at the gates of Rome. Pope Leo I is coming. Attila is returning. Why? The plague? The Pope's speech? We don't know, but it's coming back. And in 453, he dies, on his wedding night, from a nosebleed, or poison. There are legends. But the Huns are dispersing. The migration isn't ending, but it's accelerating. The Goths, they're coming from Scandinavia, 200 years ago, South Vistula River, Nis. In 238, the First Roman War. But at the same time, trade will continue. The Goths want Rome. And Rome wants the Goths. Soldier, refugee, buffer zone. This relationship will last 200 years, but in 376, it changes. The Huns are coming. 376, Fritigorn, Gothic king, reaching the Roman border. Refugees, hungry, and Rome is helping the refugees. But it's not enough. The hunger revolt begins in 300. Emperor Valens is dying. For the first time, an emperor is killed by barbarians. 410, Alaric, Visigoth king. He enters Rome. 3 days of looting. For the first time in 800 years, Rome has fallen. The world is in shock. (418) The Visigoths settle in Spain. The Kingdom of Toulouse and the Western Roman Empire is collapsing. 476, the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, young puppet. The Ostrogoth general Odoacer dethrones him. But it doesn't kill it. It retires it. The Goths are now in Italy, and the Western Roman Empire is coming to an end. Vandals, they're coming from Sweden. Vandalia, today, Pomerania, and the migration is westward. 406, the Rhine River. Winter, frozen, they're passing through, to Gaul, to Spain, and Gazric. 429, 80,000 men, to North Africa, by ship. The Vandals become seafarers, and in 439, Carthage, Rome's granary, it falls. The Vandals control the Mediterranean. Year 455. The Vandals arrive in Rome by sea. The city falls. Rome is looted for 14 days, but this was not uncontrolled destruction. Churches were protected. Pope Leo I intervenes once again. However, this time, he cannot save Rome. The Vandals were no longer just a migrating people. They had become a powerful naval force in the Mediterranean. Carthage was their capital. Rome's former grain supply was now under their control. Gold and trade were strengthening Vandal power. The Mediterranean was now under Vandal naval control. The Franks were a Germanic people, living along the Rhine River, but they were influenced by Rome. In 481, Clovis became the sole king of the Franks at just 15 years old. And Clovis fought continuously for nearly 30 years. The victory at Soissons broke the last major Roman resistance in Gaul. The Battle of Tolbiac became a turning point for Clovis. In 496, Clovis converted to Christianity. It was not only faith, it was strategy. The Roman Church and the Gallo-Roman population now supported Clovis. Clovis died, but the Franks continued to grow, and from this legacy emerged France, Germany, the Netherlands, and Belgium. In just 200 years, between 375 and 575, Europe became unrecognizable. Western Rome collapsed. The Eastern Roman Empire survived, but reduced in power. New kingdoms emerged: Visigothic Spain, Ostrogothic Italy, Frankish Gaul. The Vandals, Burgundians, Alans, Herulian Gepids. Some disappeared, others faded into history. This transformation was not only political. Language, culture, and religion changed. Christianity spread. The Pope grew. Stronger, Rome returned, not as an empire, but as a church. Today, France, Germany, England, Spain, and Italy. All of them were born in this period. The migration period was not destruction, it was rebirth. The fall of Rome was the birth of Europe. This was a story of 200 years, a story that began with the sound of hooves. The Huns, Goths, Vandals, and Franks disappeared, but their traces remained. The migration period lasted from 375 to 568, 200 years. 5 million people moved. Europe was reborn. Rome fell, but Europe began. In the silence of the Arabian desert, on a mountain above the city of Mecca, a message that would change human history was about to begin. At the heart of this land stood a city, Mecca. And at the center of Mecca stood a structure revered for centuries, the Kaaba. In the early 7th century, the Arabian Peninsula, a land of vast deserts, tribal rivalries, and intersecting trade routes. In this land, a message would emerge that would change the course of world history. At the time Islam emerged, the Arabian Peninsula was politically fragmented. There was no central state. Society was organized around tribes, and each tribe governed itself. Rivalries and conflicts between tribes were part of everyday life. The strong held decisive power over the weak within society. Inside the Kaaba in Mecca stood hundreds of idols. It was in this very environment that a new message would soon emerge. Around the year 570 CE, a child was born in Mecca. He would become the bearer of a message that would change the course of world history. He lost his father before he was born, and at a young age, he also lost his mother, growing up as an orphan. He was first cared for by his grandfather Abdul Muttalib, and later by his uncle Abu Talib. In his youth, he worked in trade and had the opportunity to travel across different regions of Arabia. In his youth, he worked in trade. He traveled across different regions of Arabia. These journeys expanded his understanding of the world around him. Because of his honesty and integrity, he earned the respect of the people of Mecca. They gave him a name, Al-Amin. At the age of 25, around the year 595, he married Khadijah, one of the most respected and wealthy women of Mecca. The year was 610. He had withdrawn to the cave of Hira, near Mecca. There an event was about to unfold that would change the course of human history. One night, inside the cave of Hira, the first revelation began that would change the course of human history. And that night, the first word was revealed. Read. After that night, as he descended from the mountain, nothing would ever be the same again. He returned home that night. He was deeply shaken and trembling. He asked his wife Khadijah to cover him. His wife Khadijah comforted him. She reassured him and stayed by his side. She told him this was not something to fear. He went with his wife Khadijah to Waraka ibn Nawfal. Waraka said that what had happened was a divine revelation. The first to believe in his message were his wife, Khadijah, Ali, Abu Bakr, and Zayd. Thus the first small community of believers began to form. In the early years, Islam was taught in secret. A small community quietly began to grow in Mecca. He later gathered the people on Mount Safa. There, he openly called them to Islam. However, the leaders of Quraysh opposed this message. The open call was met with strong resistance in Mecca. As Islam began to spread, persecution started in Mecca. The early believers were subjected to severe torture because of their faith. As persecution intensified in Mecca, some Muslims migrated to Abyssinia. It became the first migration in Islamic history. A harsh boycott was imposed on the Muslims and the Banu Hashem in Mecca. They endured great hardship for 3 years. Persecution against the Muslims in Mecca continued to intensify. The leaders of Quraysh surrounded his house to stop him. That night, Ali stayed in his bed. That night, he quietly left Mecca. To hide from those searching for him, they took refuge in the cave of Thor. They remained hidden in the cave of Thor for 3 days. After a long journey, they approached Medina. After 3 days, they continued their journey toward Medina. They arrived in Medina. Before entering Medina, the first mosque was built in Kuba. The people of Medina welcomed them with great joy. The Prophet's mosque was built in Medina. Brotherhood was established between the Muhajirin and the Ansar. An agreement was established between the communities of Medina. Around 313 Muslims faced a much larger Meccan force at Badr. The battle ended with a Muslim victory. At Uhud, the Muslims faced the Meccan army once again. The battle became a difficult test for the Muslims. A trench was dug around Medina to defend the city. The siege failed. An agreement was made with the Meccans at Hudaybiyah. This agreement became an important turning point for the spread of Islam. In 630, Mecca was conquered. The city came under Muslim control with little fighting. The idols around the Kaaba were removed. In the valley of Hunain, they faced a sudden attack. However, the battle ended in a Muslim victory. A large army was prepared for the expedition of Tabuk. However, no battle took place. In 632, the farewell pilgrimage was performed. During the farewell pilgrimage, he delivered the farewell sermon to the people. He passed away in Medina in 632. The legacy he left spread rapidly across a vast region. In 632, Abu Bakr was chosen as the first caliph. The Ridda Wars were fought to preserve unity. The verses of the Quran began to be compiled. In 634, Umar became the second caliph. Between 634 and 644, during Umar's rule, Islamic lands expanded rapidly. In 637, Jerusalem was peacefully surrendered. In 644, Uthman became the third caliph. During Uthman's rule, copies of the Quran were prepared and sent to different regions. In 656, Uthman was martyred. In 656, Ali became the fourth caliph. In 656, the Battle of the Camel took place. In 657, the Battle of Siffin took place between the forces of Ali and Muawiyah, the governor of Syria. This battle was a continuation of the political crisis that began after the martyrdom of Uthman. It became one of the major turning points of the Rashidun period. It was followed by the arbitration event and the emergence of the After the Battle of Siffin, an arbitration took place between the two sides. This development led to new divisions in the Islamic world. After the arbitration that followed the Battle of Siffin, a group separated from Ali's army and became known as the Kharijites. This development led to new divisions in the Islamic world. In 658, the Battle of Nahrawan took place between Ali and the Kharijites. In 661, Ali was martyred. Thus, the Rashidun period came to an end. Abu Bakr was known for his honesty and loyalty. He became the first caliph and preserved unity during one of the most difficult periods of Islam. Umar was known for his justice and strong leadership. During his rule, the Islamic State became a major. Ottoman was known for his kindness, were distributed to different regions. Ali was known for his courage, wisdom, and justice. He became one of the most important leaders in Islamic history. The Quran was revealed gradually over about 23 years. This process guided the community step by step and strengthened the believers. Islam is built upon 5 core practices: declaration of faith, prayer, fasting, charity, and pilgrimage. Islam encourages reading, cleanliness, goodness, and justice. It emphasizes protecting the weak and carrying responsibility. Within society, to be a Muslim, one must declare with the tongue and believe with the heart. The Quran clearly declares that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. This belief forms the foundation of Islam. Islam is a faith built upon justice, compassion, knowledge, and good character. For centuries, it has continued to guide the lives of millions of people. In 661, after the death of Ali, a new era began in the Islamic world. After the death of Ali, Muawiyah became the caliph, and the Umayyad period began. During this period, the caliphate changed from an elected leadership into a hereditary system within the same family. The Umayyads moved the center of administration from Medina to Damascus. Damascus soon became the political center of the Islamic world. During Muawiyah's rule, the state administration was reorganized and the central authority was strengthened. During Muawiyah's rule, a disciplined and powerful army was established. During Muawiyah's rule, a strong naval fleet was established, increasing the influence of the Islamic State in the Mediterranean. During the Umayyad period, naval conflicts with Byzantium began to shift the balance of power in the Mediterranean. In 680, after Muawiyah, his son Yazid became caliph. Thus, the caliphate turned into a hereditary system passed from father to son. In 680, Hussein and a small group with him were surrounded. In Karbala, this event became a turning point that left a deep impact on Islamic history. During the Umayyad period, Muslim armies advanced westward and brought much of North Africa under their control. In 711, the Muslim army, led by Tariq ibn Ziyad, crossed into Al-Andalus, marking the beginning of a new era in Europe. With the conquest of Al-Andalus, Islam reached the European continent, and a new civilization began to emerge in the region. During the Umayyad period, Muslim armies advanced eastward and reached the Transoxiana region of Central Asia. Under the command of Muhammad ibn Qasim, Muslim armies reached the region of Sind, bringing Islam to the Indian subcontinent. During the reign of Abd al-Malik, Arabic became the official state language, and the first Islamic coins were introduced. These reforms strengthened central authority. In 691, the Dome of the Rock was built in Jerusalem. It became one of the most important monuments of early Islamic architecture. During the reign of Al-Walid I, the Umayyad Mosque of Damascus was built. It became one of the most important symbols of Umayyad power and early Islamic architecture. During the Umayyad period, the Islamic State expanded across a vast territory stretching from Al-Andalus in the west to Central Asia in the east. During the Umayyad period, trade routes expanded, and major cities became important economic centers. Toward the end of the Umayyad period, the Abbasids began to gain strength and opposition movements spread rapidly. In 698, with the fall of Carthage, Byzantine control in North Africa ended, and the region came under Umayyad rule. After the capture of Carthage, the Umayyads established permanent administration in North Africa, making the region an important center of the Islamic world. The new administration established in Al-Andalus quickly turned the region into one of the important cultural and commercial centers of the Islamic world. During the reign of Abd al-Malik, the central administration was reorganized and the state structure became stronger. During the reign of Abd al-Malik, Arabic became the official state language. This reform strengthened unity within the AD administration. During the reign of Abd al-Malik, the first Islamic coins were introduced. This reform strengthened the economic independence of the state. During the Umayyad period, a postal system was developed to improve communication between cities. During the Umayyad period, several campaigns were launched into Anatolia. The Umayyads laid siege to Constantinople and fought major battles against Byzantium. During the Umayyad period, cities expanded rapidly and trade flourished. During the Umayyad period, scholarly activity began to grow. New trade routes connected different regions of the empire. During the Umayyad period, the Islamic State expanded across 3 continents. During the reign of Al-Wal, major construction projects were carried out in cities. During this period, medical services began to develop. Social order and state structure became stronger. The taxation system was reorganized, increasing state revenues. Over time, the Abbasids began to gain strength. In the region of Khorasan, the Abbasids gathered strong support. In the region of Khorasan, the Abbasid movement quickly began to gain strength. The Abbasids rapidly expanded their influence by gathering support across different regions. Over time, uprisings began in many regions against Umayyad rule. Abbasid armies advanced westward and began a major struggle against Umayyad rule. The 2 major armies faced each other near the Zab River. The Battle of the Zab in 750 became the decisive conflict that led to the end of the Umayyad state. After the battle, the Umayyad army was forced to retreat. Abbasid forces advanced toward Damascus and took sole control of the government. In 750, the Umayyad state came to an end. Some members of the Umayyad dynasty managed to escape westward. A branch of the Umayyad dynasty reached Al-Andalus and established a new rule there. The new Umayyad rule established in Al-Andalus became a powerful center in the Western Islamic world. Cordoba soon became an important center of knowledge and culture. Cities of Al-Andalus became important centers along major trade routes. Al-Andalus became an important center where different cultures came together. During this period, scholarly activities accelerated and produced important developments. Urban life rapidly developed in Al-Andalus, and scholarly activity created a new intellectual center in the Western Islamic world. The Umayyads left lasting architectural achievements that became an important part of Islamic civilization. During the Umayyad period, the Islamic State expanded across a vast territory stretching from Al-Andalus in the west to Central Asia in the east. The Uhayyid period played an important role in the political, cultural, and economic development of Islamic civilization. The Umayyad period took its place in history as a great era, when Islamic civilization reached vast territories and left a lasting legacy. The year was 750. The Islamic world stood on the edge of a silent but powerful transformation. For nearly a century, the Umayyads ruled the Islamic world. But non-Arab Muslim communities were growing increasingly dissatisfied. And that dissatisfaction turned into a secret movement. This movement united under black banners. In Khorasan, this movement was led by a powerful commander. And finally, two great armies met on the banks of the Zab River. This battle was not just a defeat. It was the end of an era. A new era had begun, and the Abbasids had entered the stage of history. After their victory, the Abbasids quickly began securing major cities. The new Caliph, Abu al-Abbas al-Safa, officially declared his rule. The new regime began rapidly erasing the traces of the old order. Caliph al-Mansur made a historic decision. The new capital would no longer be Damascus, it would be Baghdad. Baghdad was a carefully planned imperial capital built from the ground up. Soon, Baghdad became one of the greatest cities in the world. During the reign of Harun ar-Rashid, Baghdad became one of the most powerful cities in the world. Baghdad was no longer just a capital city. Baghdad had become the center where the world's trade routes met. At the House of Wisdom, texts from across the world were being translated. The knowledge of ancient Greece was being rediscovered. Al-Khwarizmi was transforming the foundations of mathematics. Astronomers studied the skies to understand the universe. Ibn Sina was writing one of the most important medical works in history. Early forms of modern hospitals were emerging in Baghdad. Baghdad had become one of the greatest centers of knowledge in the world. Under the Abbasids, Baghdad had become one of the brightest cities in human history. But the central authority of the Abbasids slowly began to weaken. In distant provinces, governors began making their own decisions. In North Africa, central authority was gradually fading. In the West, Al-Andalus had become a completely independent power. In Baghdad, the balance inside the palace was beginning to change. The caliphs relied on Turkic soldiers to secure their safety. But over time, these soldiers began influencing palace politics. The caliphs were gradually becoming symbolic leaders. In the 10th century, the Buyids entered Baghdad and took control. The caliphate continued, but real power was now in their hands. In the 11th century, a new power began rising from the east. This power was the Seljuk ruler Tughral Beg was advancing rapidly westward. The Seljuks quickly took control of Persian lands. Meanwhile, Baghdad had become politically weakened. The city was under Buyid control. In 1055, the Seljuk army entered Baghdad. Tughral Beg placed the caliph under his protection. And thus, the Seljuk sultans became the political leaders of the Islamic world. During the Seljuk period, the caliphs continued as religious leaders. But political power now belonged to the Seljuk sultans. The Seljuks restored order by building a strong administrative system. One of the architects of this system was Nizam al-Mulk. The Nizamiya madrasas he founded transformed the education system. These madrasas created a new educational network, the Islamic world. Under the Seljuks, the Islamic world regained strong political stability. But a new threat was emerging from the West. The Crusades pushed the Islamic world into a new struggle. During this time, the Abbasids continued as the spiritual authority of the Islamic world. In the 13th century, a new and powerful threat rose from the east. This threat was the Mongol army. At the head of the Mongol army stood Hulagu Khan. The Mongol army was advancing toward Baghdad. In 1258, Baghdad was besieged. The city fell quickly. The House of Wisdom was destroyed. The Tigris River flowed dark with ink for days. The last Abbasid caliph was killed. And thus, Abbasid rule in Baghdad came to an end. Baghdad had fallen. The city fell into silence. But knowledge did not disappear. Knowledge moved to other cities. The Abbasid Caliphate continued in Cairo. The Caliphate had not completely ended. Abbasid knowledge reached Europe. This knowledge influenced Europe's awakening and became one of the foundations of the Renaissance. Abbasid knowledge spread across continents. Centuries later, the Caliphate passed to the Ottomans. This legacy continued to live on. Baghdad was once one of the centers of the world. The House of Wisdom changed human history. The Abbasids were not just a state. They were a bridge of civilization. And history never forgot them. The year is 793. The ships on the horizon were not ordinary, long, narrow, and crowned with dragon heads. The warriors of the north were coming. The longships reached the shore. Warriors carrying shields and axes stepped onto this silent coast. Lindisfarne was no longer safe. A monk wrote in his chronicle, "God protect us from the fury of the Northmen." Europe was now facing a new threat. The Vikings were not born raiders. It was the harsh geography they lived in that pushed them toward the sea. Narrow lands, long winters, and limited resources forced northern people to search for new horizons. Population was growing in Scandinavia. Land was limited. For young warriors, the path to wealth and glory now lay across the sea. The Vikings' greatest strength was not only their warriors, but their ships. Long ships could cross open seas and travel deep inland through shallow rivers. The Vikings did not raid England alone. Soon they reached the coasts of France, the Baltic, and the rivers of Eastern Europe. The northern warriors were now everywhere across Europe. In 845, Viking ships sailed along the Seine River. The northern warriors had reached the heart of Europe. Their target was Paris. King Charles the Bald was forced to pay a large tribute to save Paris. European kingdoms were now negotiating with the Vikings, instead of stopping them. The Vikings were no longer only raiders. They settled across large parts of eastern England. These lands became known as the But England did not completely fall. King Alfred the Great of Wessex managed to stop the Viking advance. His resistance changed the future of England. Some Vikings turned east instead of west. Traveling along great rivers, they reached Byzantium. They were now known as the Varangians. Some Viking warriors entered the service of the Byzantine Empire. In Constantinople, they became the emperor's most trusted guards. This elite unit was known as the Varangian Guard. The Vikings were not only raiders, they explored new lands and settled there. Iceland became one of the most important colonies founded by the northern people. Viking explorer Eric the Red sailed even farther west. He named the newly discovered land Greenland and established a new colony there. Leif Erikson sailed farther west and reached a new continent. The Vikings had set foot in North America nearly 100 years before Christopher Columbus. The Vikings were not only warriors, they built powerful trade networks stretching from the Baltic to the Black Sea, transporting furs, silver, and valuable goods. Viking society was divided into three main classes. Jarls were the ruling elite, Carls were the free people, thralls stood at the lowest level as slaves. In the Viking world, battle was more than survival. They believed in Odin's wisdom, Thor's strength, and that brave warriors would enter Valhalla after death. Over time, the Viking world began to change. Scandinavian kings accepted Christianity. The old gods were slowly replaced by a new faith. The Viking Age came to an end. But the legacy of the northern warriors lived on in Europe's culture, trade, and exploration. They were not only raiders, they were explorers who helped shape history. One of the most mysterious figures in Viking history was Ragnar Lothbrok. According to some sources, he was a great warrior. According to others, only a legend. Ragnar Lothbrok later turned toward the shores of England, but this time, the campaign would not end as he expected. Ragnar Lothbrok quickly gained fame in the Viking world. His raids across England and Frankish lands made his name legendary among northern warriors. Ragnar was not only a warrior. Under his leadership, many Viking warriors united. Across the northern world, his name became associated with great expeditions. Ragnar Lothbrok sailed toward England one last time, but this time he did not command a great army. This journey would change his fate. Ragnar Lothbrok was captured in England. By order of King Alella, he was thrown into a pit of snakes. But his death did not end the Viking raids. It marked the beginning of a much greater army. Ragnar's death caused great anger in the north. His sons gathered one of the largest Viking armies in history to take revenge. In 866, the great heathen army reached the shores of England. This was no longer a raid. It was the beginning of a permanent invasion. The great heathen army quickly captured the city of York. The city would now be known as Jorvik and became a major center of Viking power in England. The great heathen army quickly began to shake the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. Northumbria, Mercia, and East Anglia fell under Viking control. Much of England was now in the hands of northern warriors. Much of England had fallen to the Vikings, but the Kingdom of Wessex still stood. King Alfred formed the last line of defense against the Viking advance. In 878, at the Battle of Edington, Alfred's army stopped the Viking leader Guthrum. This victory became a turning point that prevented England from falling completely under Viking rule. After the victory at Edington, Alfred and the Viking leader Guthrum agreed on the Treaty of Wedmore. England was now divided between two worlds, the south, under Anglo-Saxon control, and the east under Viking rule. In 1066, William, Duke of Normandy, invaded England. This conquest was not only a change of kings, it was the return of the Viking legacy to England. The Norman descendants of the Vikings reached not only England, but also the Mediterranean. In southern Italy and Sicily, they established new kingdoms and shaped the politics of southern Europe. In 1066, Viking King Harald Hardrada launched his final campaign into England, but he was defeated at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. This defeat marked the end of the Viking Age. The Vikings changed Europe not only through war, but through the legacy they left behind. The cities they founded, the trade routes they opened, and the kingdoms they shaped permanently influenced the continent. The Vikings became the first Europeans to reach North America. The settlement at Vinland was short-lived, but it marked the first known European journey across the Atlantic. The Vikings were not only raiders, they were traders, explorers, warriors, and the legacy they left behind changed the course of European history. The greatest strength behind Viking success was their ships. Carefully built, long ships could cross open seas and travel deep inland through rivers. The Vikings were not only brave, they were skilled navigators. Using the sun, the stars, and signs from the sea, they were able to travel across the open ocean. The Vikings were not only warriors from the north, they were explorers who expanded Europe's horizons, sailors who reshaped trade routes, and a civilization that influenced the course of world history. In the 11th century, the Great Seljuk Empire was the most powerful state in the Middle East. In Baghdad, the Abbasid Caliph remained in place, while real political power was held by the Yet, in the rugged mountains of northern Persia, a different movement was beginning to emerge. Soon, the center of this movement would become the fortress of Alamut. Hazen Seba was born around the year 1050 in the city of Qam in Persia. From a young age, he showed a strong interest in knowledge and learning. He studied theology, mathematics, and philosophy. He studied theology, mathematics, and philosophy. During his early years, Hazen Seba encountered the teachings of the Is. To understand this teaching better, he set out on a journey to Cairo. At that time, Cairo was one of the most important centers of learning under the Fatimid Caliphate. There, Hassan Sabr met important figures of the Ismaili movement. However, political struggles within the Fatimid court made Hassan Sabr's position increasingly difficult. As a result, he was forced to leave Cairo. Hassan Sabr began his journey back toward Persia. His goal was now to establish a new center in the mountains. In 1090, Hassan Sabr turned his attention toward the fortress of Alam. The fortress was captured not through battle, but through careful strategy. Alamut had now become Hassan Sabr's center of power. Soon, this fortress would become the center of a new state. After capturing the fortress of Alamut, Hassan Sabr began establishing a new order there. This was not merely the control of a fortress, but the beginning of a new political structure. Soon, other mountain fortresses around Alamut joined this growing network. Thus, a new state connected across the mountains began to emerge. Instead of building large armies, Hassan Sabr formed a small but disciplined force. These men were the Fedayeen, trained with absolute loyalty. The Fedayeen were prepared for precise missions rather than open warfare. This system quickly made Hassan Sabr's power felt across the region. At this time, the Great Seljuk Empire was the dominant political power across Persia and the surrounding regions. One of the most powerful figures of the Seljuk state was the vizier Nizam al-Mulk. The Seljuk administration viewed Hassan Sabr's movement as a serious threat. Thus began a long struggle between the Seljuks and Alamut. In 1092, the Seljuk vizier Nizam al-Mulk was attacked during a journey. A Fedayeen approached the vizier and carried out the assassination. This event caused a major shock across the Islamic world. This assassination demonstrated the power of Alamut across the region. After the assassination of Nizam al-Mulk, the influence of Alamut rapidly expanded. Regional rulers now had to take the power of Alamet seriously. Instead of open warfare, the Fedayeen changed the balance. Through targeted missions, this method allowed Hazen Seba to survive against powerful states with a relatively small force. The fortress of Alamet did not remain alone for long. Soon, important fortresses such as Lamisar joined this network. These fortresses formed a powerful defensive system, connected through communication. Thus, a connected defensive network was established across the mountains. During this period, Crusader states had emerged in the Eastern Mediterranean. These new powers began to reshape the political balance of the region. The Nizari Ismailis sometimes fought these states, and sometimes established diplomatic relations with them. The fortresses in Syria became important centers of these interactions. Hazen Seba continued his rule from the fortress of Alamat for many years. He maintained a highly disciplined system of governance. He spent most of his life without leaving Alamet. As his life neared its end, the state he had built continued to survive. Hazen Seba died in 1124 in the fortress of Alamat. However, his death did not mark the end of the state he created. The Nizri Ismaili state, centered in Alamet, continued to survive. The system established by Hazen Seba continued to remain influential for many years. In the 13th century, a new power began advancing into Persia from the east. This power was the Mongol army. The Mongol forces were commanded by Hulagu Khan. And one of their targets would be the fortress of Alamet. In 1256, Mongol armies advanced toward Alamet. The fortress of Alamat, which had resisted for decades, was placed under siege. In the end, the fortress of Alamat fell to the Mongols. Thus, the state founded by Hazen Seba came to an end. In one of the harshest lands on earth, a child was born. His name was Temujin. No one knew his future, but his destiny was not ordinary. His father was a tribal leader, but his enemies killed him. Temujin and his family were abandoned. They had to survive. Temujin and his family were abandoned by their tribe. He grew up fighting hunger. Temujin brought food back to his family. He was already carrying the burden of responsibility. But being alone on the steppe was dangerous. He did not yet know the threat approaching him. One day, he was captured. But he managed to escape. Now he was alone. But he had a great vision. And that vision would change the world. Young Temujin found a powerful ally. His name was Jamuk. They grew up together. They fought together. Temujin began gathering loyal warriors. He was no longer alone. But leadership was not easily earned. Jamuka was chosen as leader. Temujin chose a different path. He chose ordinary warriors over nobles. This decision changed everything. Old friends were now rivals. An inevitable war was approaching. The steppe became a battlefield. And Temujin would not turn back. Temujin began to fight. The steppe was his battlefield. Many tribes joined him. His army was growing rapidly. But Jamuka still stood against him. A great battle began. Temujin did not retreat. Jamuka was defeated. His old friend was captured. And their destinies changed. Now the tribes were uniting. A great Kurultai was called. A new leader would be chosen. All eyes turned to Temujin. The tribes supported him. And the decision was made. A new era was beginning. Temujin was now Genghis Khan. The Mongols were now one army. And the world had not yet met them. Genghis Khan built a powerful army. The strength of the army was speed and mobility. They could shoot arrows while riding. Their bows were deadly. They used the feigned retreat tactic. They lured their enemies into traps and surrounded them. The army was disciplined. Every unit was organized. Orders moved quickly. A relay system was created. This system sped communication. Scouts gathered intelligence. Plans were prepared in advance. Now borders would be crossed. In 1211, Genghis Khan invaded northern China. The first target was China. The Mongols advanced against the Jin dynasty. The war was just beginning. In 1215, Zhongdu was captured. Zhongdu, Bugian Kopeki. New cities were targeted. Northern China was now under Mongol control. In 1218, the Mongols turned west. A Mongol trade caravan arrived in Ottoman. But the caravan was arrested. The envoys were executed. Genghis Khan answered with war. In 1219, the Great Campaign began. Ottoman was besieged. The city was captured. The next target was Bukhara. In 1220, Bukhara fell. Genghis Khan entered the city. The next target was Samarkand was besieged. The city fell quickly. The Khwarezm Shah fled. The Mongols pursued him. The Khwarezm Shah died in the Caspian Sea. The Mongols advanced into Persia. Many cities fell. The Mongols continued westward. Now the world knew them. The Mongol army crossed the Caucasus Mountains. They were now approaching the gates of Europe. Mongol scouts were watching the Rus principalities. The great cities of Europe did not yet know the danger that was coming. Mongol reconnaissance forces moved across the Russian steppe. The borders of Europe were now before them. The Rus princes united against the Mongols. Europe was preparing a common defense for the first time. In 1223, the two armies faced each other at the Kelka River. This confrontation marked the beginning of a new era for Europe. The Mongols used the feigned retreat tactic. They were drawing the Rus army into a planned trap. The Rus army began to pursue the Mongols. But this advance was leading them into a trap. The Mongols suddenly turned back. The Rus army was now surrounded. The Rus army suffered a devastating defeat. Europe witnessed the true power of the Mongols for the first time. This victory was the result of Subutai and Jeeb's strategy. The Mongols had now tested the strength of Europe. The Mongols could have advanced deeper into Europe. But this campaign was only a reconnaissance mission. Europe was no longer unknown to the Mongols. This reconnaissance laid the foundation for future invasions. The Mongol reconnaissance army turned back east. The knowledge they gathered would shape future campaigns. In 1226, Genghis Khan launched his final campaign. The target was the Western Shaya Kingdom. The Mongol army entered Western Xia territory. Soon, major cities were placed under siege. Western Xia cities were under heavy assault. The Mongols were tightening the siege ring. During the Western Xia campaign, Genghis Khan fell ill. Yet the army continued its advance. In 1227, Genghis Khan died. The death of Genghis Khan was kept secret from the army. The campaign continued until the mission was complete. Genghis Khan was buried in a secret location. The place of his grave remains unknown even today. In 1229, Ogedei Khan was proclaimed Great Khan. The Mongol Empire would continue to expand. Ogedei Khan made Karakorum the capital of the empire. From here, campaigns across Asia and Europe were directed. In 1236, Beit Khan launched a great campaign toward the west. Subutai was the strategic architect of this invasion. The Mongols defeated the Volga Bulk. The gates of Eastern Europe were now open. In 1237, Ryazan was besieged by the Mongols. The city was completely destroyed in a short time. In 1238, Vladimir fell to the Mongols. The resistance of the Rus principalities began to collapse rapidly. In 1238, Moscow was burned by the Mongols. Though still a small settlement, it was completely destroyed. In 1240, Kiev was captured by the Mongols. One of the greatest cities of Eastern Europe had fallen. The Mongol armies were now advancing towards Central Europe. Poland and Hungary had become the next targets. In 1241, European knights faced the Mongols at the Battle of Lignita. But once again, the Mongol army proved superior. In 1241, the Hungarian army suffered a devastating defeat at the Battle of Mohi. The Mongols had now reached the gates of Central Europe. The Mongol armies continued advancing across Central Europe. Europe now appeared defenseless. In 1241, Ogedei Khan died. The Mongol army had to return for the Kurultai assembly. The Mongol army withdrew from Europe. But this was not a defeat. Beta Khan established the Golden Horde in the Western Territories. The Rus principalities were now under Mongol rule. The Mongol Empire became the largest land empire in history. Its lands stretched from China to Europe. The Mongols established secure trade routes across Eurasia. This period became known as the Pax Mongolica. The Mongol Empire connected different